Welcome, I'm Bruce Munro, and with me is International Relations Specialist Professor Robert Patman, and this is Global Insight. COVID-19 continues to ravage the world, but thoughts are turning to what the new normal will look like. Welcome, Robert.
Morning, Bruce.
We spoke last time about Gordon Brown's call for a temporary one world government to tackle the health and economic challenges of COVID-19. 2 weeks on, do you still think that is necessary?
Well, firstly, Bruce, Gordon Brown wasn't calling for a permanent world government. He was calling for a temporary authority which would act to maximise international cooperation to deal with the problem of COVID-19. Unfortunately, to date, that cooperation has been sadly lacking. And his suggestion was that we needed to start building bridges where there are none at the moment. Yes, I do think there needs to be more international cooperation. Clearly, we can't go back to November 2019 when COVID-19 was first detected, but we can try and learn lessons from COVID-19. What sort of lessons? Well, I think COVID-19 shown there's the absence of a global health infrastructure. Secondly, I think the international crisis management mechanisms of the international system have been shown to be deficient. And we've also, and this is a sobering lesson, we've also seen that in a number of countries, political leaders have been prepared to put their pride and their interests above the safety and the lives of their own citizens. And that is certainly the feeling in some countries such as the UK, the United States and Brazil.
You talk about resurgent national states or international cooperation. Is it an either or? Power corrupts, so would we not be better to have nation states that cooperate with each other?
Well, Bruce, you're absolutely right with your question. It's a false juxtaposition between international cooperation and states. What it is absolutely necessary for states is to embrace international cooperation. And unfortunately, a number of powerful states, such as the United States, Russia, China, and India, have continued in recent years to pretend they can solve global problems unilaterally. That is just not, that's a fantasy, and it's not realistic, and and COVID-19, I think, is a wake-up call that we have to come to terms with objective reality, a reality that a virus does not recognise boundaries.
So, nation-state protectionism or greater international cooperation? Which way do you see it tipping and how?
Well, I think COVID-19 has highlighted that nation-states have a huge self-interest in expanding international cooperation. COVID-19 isn't the only global problem we're dealing with. Climate change is a slower global challenge, but potentially could have even greater consequences. The world had a chance to tackle the problem, Bruce, in the early 90s, but has lost that opportunity over the decades, blew the opportunity. And today, unfortunately, we live in an era in the 21st century where there's still a number of leaders who continue, and they're prominent leaders, Mr. Putin, Mr. Trump, etc., who continue to deny the reality of climate change. I think COVID-19 was a disruptive event which allows new perspectives and new approaches. And I think one of the things that COVID-19 will do will make people much more sensitive to this other long-running global crisis which hasn't been tackled effectively, and that's climate change. And in a sense, I think COVID-19 has broken to some degree the mold of politics. Why? Because it's interesting that those countries such as South Korea, New Zealand, Germany and Singapore, those sort of countries, and Hong Kong, those countries which have taken science seriously, listened to international advice from the WHO and acted on it, have actually come out of this. They haven't got through the crisis yet, but they have performed relatively well. Those countries which have been suspicious and distrustful of international institutions and international advice from the WHO, and have claimed they are exceptionalist. They have exceptional national experience, which will enable them to see out the crisis. They have performed very badly. And countries like the United States, United Kingdom, and Brazil have disproportionately high death tolls, tragically, from COVID-19. So I think, in a sense, then, COVID-19 has opened the door to possibilities to tackling climate change. I think it will certainly sensitize citizens and decision makers that they can't simply put off this problem. And after all, not only does, I think, COVID-19 act as a catalyst to sensitize us to the dangers of a planet, of a problem which actually threatens the planet and life, whether life can survive on Earth, but it also provides a strategic opportunity for leaders. Recently, two former Secretaries of State, George Shultz and James Baker, made, I think, a very telling observation. They said whoever wins the race for developing clean energy will be decisive in shaping the politics of the 21st century. In short, they're saying, trying to build up your reserves of oil will not necessarily be the key to becoming a decisive player in the 21st century. So I think COVID-19 could well be a game changer, Bruce.
Thanks, Robert. And thank you for watching. Catch us next time on Global Insight. Ka kite anō.